So let me start by saying I've seen the first 5 episodes. I loved it. It's just
Great,
so
dude.
so good.
Because here's the thing with Weintraub, like it's either like, we're buddies, I would say, and it's either not my favorite or loved it. You know what I mean? That's when I was like, when it's not your favorite, then I'm like, all right, dude, forget about it. Then
Right.
I'm not even gonna read the review.
Right. You know what's funny, and I say this all the time. Like, so I have an amazing staff that works for Collider, and they're such better writers than I am. I can't compete with my staff. They're amazing, which is why they are the reviewers.
Yeah. But you used to do that.
Many years ago, I might have done a review or two, but it is.
Like End of Watch.
I don't. Let's move past all that and let's jump into why I get to talk to you today. First of all, how did you first get involved in this thing? Were you a fan of the show? Let's start with that.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't a fan of the show.
So you had not seen anything?
No, because I'm like, my kid, he's 10 now, but when I talked to, I know, time flies. I talked to Eric Newman like 3 years ago. My kid was like 6.5 or something like that. So basically, all I watched was like Toy Story and Wreck-It Ralph and, kids movies and things like that. So I said, I'm very sorry, I haven't watched the show. I heard it's amazing. He pitched me Kiki Camarena. Then I went home, saw 2 episodes, and immediately called my reps. And I was like, dude, let's totally chase this. I can't believe I don't know this show. And then when they, said that it was, I'm like, I binge watched like 18 hours, like in a week and a half. I mean, for me, that's a lot. That's a lot of content.
What was it like making this show? Because it seems like it's very intense.
Yeah.
When you're watching, there is some crazy action, there's violence, there's serious dialogue moments.
Yeah. I mean, well, this show is crazy because it's, you realize as soon as you get into Mexico that you're American. It doesn't matter, and some of the places are pretty sketchy, but we had security or whatever. But if you just see the land is not the easiest to live off of. There's some really, really poor people there with no government assistance whatsoever. And because there's poor people, there's sometimes crime, and if they see you with a fancy watch, I'm sure they want to get it. But it was crazy, man. Like I had the job because I was investigating and I had to go everywhere, where I had to go to Guadalajara, Jalisco, Querétaro, all these different places, just trying to chase the cartel.
I'm curious, how many scripts you must have known the arc of the story when you signed on, but how many scripts did you have prior to filming the first one?
We only had 2 scripts. And in those 2 scripts, it was funny because in every binge-worthy show, the first 2, I don't know, I want to hear your thoughts on this. First 2 are normally the establishing ones, right? They're good, but it's episodes 3 and 4 that really start cooking. And so I was just, it was an establishing episodes.
Sure. Well, I mean, the very first episode starts with you have a narrator on the show basically saying this is not going to end well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right from the get-go.
Exactly. And then you see that I'm abducted and that I have a hood over my head.
Right.
And so it's kind of eerie. And then the cops, lead you, the local police lead, help the guys, the kidnappers. It's not a good feeling.
No, and see, now I'm not sure what you can say, and I'm not sure how much you can say, but is this one of these things where your storyline is wrapped up in one season, or is it one of these things that it's further?
Can't say it.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Off the record, I'll tell you.
Sure. I have so many things. But,
you'll be able to watch it in 2 days.
Oh,
man.
believe me, sir, it's being watched this weekend.
Sir.
Right. Yeah. The rest of the
from Weintraub.
Right. The rest of the show is this weekend.
Okay.
How is it though? Because the dialogue and the writing on this show is so good. How is it on set in terms of? Are you guys changing things, or are you guys hitting every comma?
Well, I mean, I definitely do like to change certain things. I know what what they want to accomplish, and also the story points that they need to hit. And I would just sometimes change it so that I could try to make a scene out of it. You know what I mean? Because it's just like with any other movie, like you want the motivation to be well intact. And so I needed to, for sure, delineate between just a general, like, oh, he's focused and he wants this, but why does he want it? So it almost like building the resentment, from all these injustices that are happening left and right from me. we're building and building and building, and then that's why I was like, I almost wanted like revenge. It felt like.
Sure, you're playing someone who is really like morally centered.
Yeah,
you know,
and on paper that's like an action hero, and I don't want to play an action hero, so that's why I needed to justify it and rearrange certain things. And
yeah, no, but what is it like playing someone like that? Because I mean, it's just an interesting character, and obviously based on someone real.
Yeah.
But it's just very morally centered, and there's a great line about how he went to break something up in a bathroom, and
that was a real story. Like
Yeah.
he went to go break something in a bathroom. Like there was a couple guys smoking weed at the time but they were like, bad guys, and they beat him up, and so he got him, and he was asked if it was worth it, and he says the real guy said, yeah, it was worth it because not only did he get him for possession, but he got him for assault.
Right.
And these guys were the ones that were constantly, somehow evading. These drug dealers hired really good lawyers, so they never got their due justice. So he was glad to finally get these guys.
Before I run out of time with you, I believe you're playing a dad in an upcoming Dora movie, or am I wrong about this?
No, you're right about that, dude.
Right. So,
I'm like, I thought like it took so long for that question. Like a dad, I'm like, I am a dad, dude.
Right. No. Listen,
you know this, bro.
Eventually, I'm going to get good at my job and actually learn what I'm doing.
No,
but until then, no. So, have you started filming that yet? And what has it been like?
Yeah, I filmed it already. I was in Australia for like 3 weeks, and to be honest with you, they said that there was a door.
So you normally lie to me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, exactly. No, that's a good catch. I just say that all the time.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. So when they told me about a Dora project, I wasn't super excited about it. But then I read the script, and then it's the guy that directed the Muppet shows.
James Bobbin.
Yeah, James Bobbin. Yeah, exactly. Him, and he directed Alice Through the Looking Glass, and I thought those movies were so badass that I thought, I think this could be really cool, especially it's a good script too.
My last thing for you: are you doing this Fantasy Island movie? Is this happening?
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully, it's in January.
So it's like really going.
Yeah, Jeff Wadlow wrote the script, and again, it takes the general idea, the basic idea of Fantasy Island, and then adds to it, which I always am a huge fan of.
Yeah, I'm very curious. On that note, I cannot wait to finish this. Always a pleasure to see you.
Always good, dude.